Passion burns in your heart, ready to fight, a knife held close by your side. Like a proud wolf alone in the dark, with eyes that watch the world, and my name like a shadow on the face of the moon. Broken mirror, a million shades of light. The old echo fades away, but just you and I can find the answer, and then we can run to the end of the world. We can run to the end of the world. Cold fire clenched to my heart in the blue of night. Torn by this pain, I paint your name in sound. And the girl of the dawn with eyes of blue and angel wings. The songs of the season are heard only crowd. Broken mirror, a million shades of light. The old echo fades away, but just you and I can find the answer, and then we can run of life goes on and on. The song remains like a haunting melody of angel music held in chains. And I ask you, can we ease the pain of those who lost? Can we know the cause of all this sorrow? Can we catch the tears of the broken world falling down upon the earth, falling down? The waves of time take me deeper into you, a haze as blue as summer skies, then turn to find the key will not unlock the door. This broken bird, away it flies. And I ask you, can we ease the pain of those who lost? Can we know the cause of all this sorrow? Can we catch the
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, Internet, and welcome inside the VinnyMac's 9 Radio Show podcast, the most radioactive show on the planet. You've tuned in to episode 1305. It's our PAX South special. We are here in San Antonio, Texas. Finally made our way out yesterday from Dallas, Texas, from visiting Chenwug.
Yep.
We flew into Dallas, did episode 1304, and then finally made our way over. And it's been a crazy time so far. As most of you guys out there know, it was my 30th birthday weekend going on right now. The birthday itself is technically over.
But the fun times aren't.
But the fun times still continue.
Mm-hmm.
Friday was my 30th birthday. It was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rossi over here took me out right at midnight for some early birthday morning fun.
Yeah. Going down the Riverwalk in San Antonio is a very interesting feel. Also, there are bars that don't serve like actual drinks, and then two, there's bars that are hidden like underneath buildings as well.
Well, at least with the first place we went to, the problem that we had was that too late for some of the drinks that they would typically
well,
serve
they also
during
didn't
the day.
have tap.
No, I think they did. No, I think
they
had
bottles only.
Or no, actually, I think you're right. Yeah. I think they had the taps. They just didn't actually have them connected yet, because it seems like a lot of the places here in San Antonio are moving. Like Dave and Buster's is a good example. And
Starbucks.
Yeah, it just looked like it was
Starbucks.
Yeah, the Dave and Buster's looked like it was in the middle of what seemed to be some old theater or whatever.
So
it's hilarious.
Hey, it seems like they're trying to revitalize downtown, trying to make it look new, clean, awesome, presentable.
Doing a pretty good job.
Which is great when you consider that we have the convention center just right here.
Yeah.
Got to have places to eat, places to shop. You know, as a human being, you got to have stuff to do. You got to have entertainment.
I agree. It's always good to have stuff to do, because if you're sitting bored, bad things happen.
Yeah. So, introducing everybody who's on today's podcast. So, of course, I'm DJ Vince VinnyMac.
I'm Matthew Sarossi.
I'm Connor Jennings.
Daniel Yoshiblade Lesueur.
And we're all here. Everybody except for one game chump is here.
Reed.
We have a very hard time gathering all chumps into one spot.
We do, but then again, we all come from very different locales.
Yeah, we're scattered across all four corners of, nowhere. We're not really scattered across four corners of the globe, but yeah, we're
scattered across the U.S.
Yeah.
And, as we already know, it makes it tough sometimes to get everyone together. I don't think we've actually had, at least recently, an occurrence where we've had everybody all in one space. I think
never to this day.
The only time we ever did was, of course, very early on when we first, formulated the group.
Yeah.
And that was really about it.
Yeah.
And of course, Temwog over here has never met MC Percolator.
I have not. I've only heard of his existence. I'm not even sure it's real. Which, by the way, that reminds me of something that my old high school teacher used to do about teaching about arguing the negative, where he would try to argue that Africa did not exist to literally everyone, and he would stand by that claim. Of course, it was all to prove a point, that arguing the negative is very easy, because you can just keep denying and denying and denying, but then eventually you have to open yourself up to the possibilities. But anyway, it was a very interesting lesson about Africa not existing. So along those lines, who's to say that Reed exists? Reed, are you real? Tell me.
He's not. He's just a figment of your imagination.
He's just a personified voice.
Oh,
exactly.
Well, that makes perfect sense, actually. It makes perfect sense.
Cool.
There we go. Yeah.
What? You're just kind of staring me down there.
I'm just like, there's more people here, and I don't know.
You gotta understand, Matt stares people down often.
It's just something he does. You just gotta get used to it.
Also,
and just ignore it.
You're breaking the whole jive, man. This is an audio podcast, and you brought a visual thing.
It's like, I just see somebody staring me down. I'm like, what, brah?
Yeah.
We're gonna have a
problem.
What,
brah? You wanna go, bro?
We're gonna have a problem, brah.
We're gonna have a problem, Yosh.
We could step outside this podcast and
step outside the podcast. Yeah.
Step outside. the podcast.
Life,
Wow.
life, and we whatever that correct grammar is. We only exist in this podcast. We don't exist outside of the podcast. So if you step outside of it, there's going to cause issues.
This is just a Faraday cage of our existence.
Yeah, it's pretty much we're trapped.
Well put.
I think the world just might shatter if that happens.
Yeah, it'd be a bad time.
So jumping right in, favorite PAX thing so far?
Oh shoot! You know what? I don't know, because there's certainly it's not been any of the panels or like any of the big stuff like that. I can tell you that off the bat, because with the more and more conventions I go to, I'm kind of realizing that I'm not like a big panels guy, and I mean like big panels as in like large panels. I don't mean I'm not a big panels guy, as though I'm not a fan, because I kind of like the concept of panels, but when it gets to be like past that 200 people mark, I'm just kind of like, this is too much, or this is too whatever. So, and for that reason, I've kind of been staying away from a lot of the panels, and none of them have really caught my eye as far as interest, anywho. So I would say, honestly, the best part in my mind, as far as PAX South, has been just seeing a lot of the independent game developers doing their thing. It's been really cool, especially the guys over at Polynight Games making Interspace. That's a very cool game to see. I think it was Lightfall or Light's End, one of the two games, but that was another game. You know the one I'm talking about. It's a very, very interesting concept for a game. And both of those, and then seeing some of the smaller people that I kind of know on the internet, getting to connect with them, that was really cool. And yeah, just stuff like that, honestly. Not really the big panels, not really the big stuff. And I mean, there's stuff going on behind the scenes as well to make that a bit more interesting. And not the best of ways interesting, by the way. But yeah, so I would guess, I would say that.
How about you, Rossi?
Definitely the expo hall's been a very cool highlight so far. You walk in there and it's a lot of the conventions we go to, whether it's been MagFest or MomoCon or a lot of the larger conventions, don't really have. It feels like a mini like E3 where they're doing like little demo sets. The only thing that I kind of have as a caveat to it is that there's not really an artist alley. There's not really a lot other than the indie scene of the actual game development that's really being that supportive or conducive. I see the tabletop area too, which is really cool. But into the actual game design stuff and the indie scene, the indie alley is awesome. Had a couple games I got to play through. I finally got to play through Brawlhalla. I know it's already out. That was really cool with everyone there. Of course, Interspace, seeing everyone there again, and how that's grown as a project.
Mm-hmm.
We were following that at SGC, and it's kind of cool to follow up with a game that was in development. Now it's further along in stages. Overall highlight was probably, I've went to one panel so far this trip, and that's been the Doc Jazz panel, and that was really cool. Having an interactive, he was teaching people how to play Ocarina.
Yeah.
From if you're basic to pro, going through a bunch of different techniques from it. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Learning a new instrument is a good way to get people having fun.
Yeah.
Interject.
Dan, what about you, man?
Oh, bouncing it over here. That's simply the two P's, the pinball and the parappa the rapper. I mean, there's nothing more I can really put on it. They got an awesome Twilight Zone pinball machine here, and working out pretty well. It's really polished up, really nice, and parappa the rapper up in the console room. I mean, I've finally gotten past the first level, and it's only taken me about 20 years.
There you go, man. Hey, whatever.
That's not an exaggeration. I think that game came out in 97. And I played it in 97, and now I finally got past the first level.
Yeah, man.
So, naturally I can die a happy man.
What happens if we beat level 2 this weekend?
I will ascend to the state of a god. No big deal.
I'll be there to record it on camera if that happens.
Please do. I need documentation of my deification.
Talk about going viral.
Yeah.
On the 10-Wug channel.
Yeah, on the 10-Wug channel. That's what I want on my crappy Let's Play channel, is someone ascending to godhood. That's it. That's what I want. What about you, Vinny? What did you enjoy?
What did I enjoy? Well, I guess it'll be kind of like Office Space.
Smashing a printer?
No, I didn't do that, but that'd be fun too.
Yeah.
The plot of Superman 3?
No. All the wrong things.
I'm drawing a blank here.
Even though I've been working my ass off, as most of you guys out there know I do. I don't know how it is apparent to you guys. But the fact that it is my 30th birthday weekend, and I got to celebrate it with some of my close friends and who share very similar interests that I do in video games and video game music and just the culture in general.
Yeah.
That was pretty much the bulk of it. And if you want to get specific as far as PAX events specifically, it would probably be so far in the fact that I got to play some really classic games that I have and I own, but they've been packed away for a very long time and they're very difficult to get to. And I also saw some very, very ancient games for the Macintosh.
Yeah.
I saw yesterday that I was like, whoa, that takes me back to the late 80s, early 90s.
Oof.
So,
that is old school.
Definitely old school. But, going back to the 30th birthday weekend, Rossi took me out to two places for some drinks. Had some...
down the way on the Riverwalk.
Yeah, had some Guinness, which is one of my personal favorite beverages out there.
That's still one of the most unfortunate things. For people who don't know, that Guinness was doing a thing where they're getting rid of their original formula because of, I think it was the filtration through the fish bladder.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to make sure at least to get a little bit of that before they switch over that formula, because it's kind of weird and interesting. Also, why there's such a huge flop just because they filtrate using a fish bladder. It's so controversial.
Yeah.
There you go, fish bladder filtration. I'm not sure where to go with that, so I'll just send it right back over to VinnyMac.
That's okay. that is all cool. And had some chips and spinach dip, which was delicious. You can never get enough of the dip. They always give you a ton of chips and just never enough dip. But it was good. And then
in and out of sleep at a Denny's.
Yeah, and then of course there was the Denny's trip. I always entertain a trip to Denny's with these guys here.
Yep.
More specifically, Temwag and Rossi, and sometimes MC Percolator whenever I see him. I usually don't ever venture that alone, just because I don't know. For me, that's very dangerous. But Friday morning definitely proved to be very dangerous because I went to bed for a couple hours and I woke up in so much pain, primarily because of the amount of food that was involved in that particular Denny's trip. That I had to go downstairs to the pool just because I needed to be in a cooler environment, so I wouldn't literally spew chunks everywhere. Because trust me, if I did, it would be everywhere because there was an insane amount of food.
Oof, sounds like a bad time. Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't spew chunks everywhere.
So I got the Lumberjack Slam, which if any of you guys have ever had that or seen it on the menu, you know that it's a lot of food. It is a lot of food. I don't know what I was thinking. And the thing is I didn't even finish all of it. I got to the point where we were about ready to wrap it up, and I'm just like, okay, I cannot finish this last pancake. There's just no way. I can't do it. And I mean, it was fine. It was still good enough to eat. It was not in a soggy form or anything like that, and a nasty consistency.
That sounds like a good motto for Denny's. Good enough to eat, because that's about it. I mean, not to knock them or anything, but good enough to eat. Oh, it's food. Yeah, I like that one better.
Well, I mean, like I said, it was fine. It's just that and you also have to bear in mind that as Yoshi Blade knows, I've changed my diet a little bit.
Yes.
Just cause I can, and I'm sure my body just doesn't know how to react to all that harsh food at Denny's after changing my diet up just a bit, because now my body's like, what the hell is this?
What are you doing to me, man? We're not kids anymore.
Well, that's true. Definitely not kids. As we know, when you get older, things start not working the same way, and But nonetheless, still doing pretty good. Just naturally had an insane amount of food in a very, very short period of time, and that just did me wrong. So, which is also why when we went to the Hard Rock Cafe and Whataburger later, I didn't finish all that, just because naturally, I mean, if any of you guys out there actually have eaten with me, you'll know that it's not unusual that I don't finish my food, because I really don't eat that much in a sitting.
You also like to take 5,001 pictures of your food.
I do. Gotta have my food porn,
Nice.
Actually,
what was the name of that album I was joking about that you could, because you take so much food porn photos? That's right, The Chronicles of Vinny's Sexcapades as depicted by a food. I don't know why.
No,
that name came to me. But
people ask me all the time why I take a lot of pictures, not just of food, but it's primarily because I do so much, not just with video games and video game music, but so much outside of that. I mean, Rossi, actually, all you guys have been in my house. You know that there's a lot of projects going on.
Oh yeah.
To the point where and just with me in general, there's stuff that I forget, and I want to be able to look back on those memories and go, that was a really good time. Not just the food, and look back and say that was a really good burger, but I had a really good burger with Yoshi Blade and Tenwag and Rossi, and it was a good time.
So were you always like a photo kid? Like,
No.
You weren't?
No.
Oh. So you weren't like that kid that your parents were taking like 5,001 photos
Well,
of
I mean,
you or
my
whatever?
parents may have, but especially growing up, I was one of those people that, tried to avoid all that if I could.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But I mean, as I said, as you get older, things start not working the same way, and and again, I think my problem is more just the sheer amount of stuff that I do in a given day, and these are the more important memories that I'd like to remember than some of those other things. So as a result, that's why I take a lot of photos around you guys, because I look back at them and I'm like, that was a really good time.
Yeah.
And especially when I'm older, and who knows what happens at that point. I still would like to look back on those memories and still say that was when I had to kick Yoshi Blade's ass metaphorically to get him to come with us. And
That's true. Metaphorical ass
Where a
kicking.
snowstorm almost ended it all for us.
it almost
Oof.
did. But I mean, that was the thing. Getting Yoshi Blade here was even for me a mental challenge, because obviously he hadn't known me for very long. I mean, obviously I'd been in the community for a long time, and I mean, that's not news to a lot of people, but I mean, Yoshi Blade never met me in person, but at the end of December, we had talked a little while for a month or two. So I know that there was some hesitation to actually come down here, and
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, mostly I hang around the OCR. It's funny how different communities tend to blend together. Like YouTube and Twitch, and mostly I was always on the OCR, and that's really, I consider my home and my home base. It really is. It's a part of it. It's a community. I love being a part of it. PAX isn't really tagged for Overclocked Remix, but there is another one that perhaps you heard of, MagFest.
Excuse me.
That's definitely the OCR sort of meet and greet of the year, I'd say. Maybe Mag Classic is the other one.
Yeah, they do. I believe they do PAX East as well,
Really?
and PAX Prime. But PAX South is kind of one of those ones where it's still new.
Yeah, it's still fairly new. That's right. Now that you mentioned it, I do recall them talking about PAX Prime. There was a fighting tournament, I think, that they did an album for.
But at the same time, again, my whole thing was having people down here that are very, have very similar interests, and that's how I came to know you anyway. Even before you even knew it, was of course a lot of your work in and out of OCR, with some of the competitions you do that have nothing to do with OCR per se, but just have to do with your remixing and some music work.
The compost.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, those are kind of guided by the OCR. They set them up, and they
Sure.
maybe the 1 hour compost, but even that draws say about 1/3, maybe 1/5 of its talent from OCR. But yeah, I'm actually kind of curious how one of those turned out. I'd like to check it out. I entered one last week, and I'm kind of curious how I did.
And everybody who's anybody knows that that's my direct affiliation, at least in the community, is OCR. And of course, Game Chops and several other miscellaneous things out there.
Hashtag shout out to Game Chops. What's up, guys?
Game Chumps are shouting out Game Chops.
Yeah, exactly.
The chumps are chopping.
Yeah, the chumps are chopping.
They are.
That's what happens when we fuse together.
There you go.
Yeah, chumps are chopping.
So-
Chops are chumping.
So yeah, it was definitely very important to me. Very important to me to ensure that I had close friends, people who share similar interests, especially with the music scene. Just because, again, as I've said in the previous podcast, you guys are more like family to me than my own family. Not that I don't love or care about my family, but of course,
Yeah.
they don't understand a lot of my interests just because that's not what interests them, obviously, and that's not really what they care about. So as a result, when I talk about this stuff, I'm boring to them, and the other way around, when they talk about their stuff, I actually try to listen and try to take some interest in it, but at the same time, it's, we all understand that aspect, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's one because, you find that fact that it's like you have a shared interest with some people. I think, any shared interest that you have with someone, it's, you're often the bond really fast with them. I think, one, that too, I think that, even with all the stuff that's going on with gaming, I think there's still that stereotype of gaming is not 100% for like the socially in crowd, I guess, if that makes sense.
It's really not. And I mean, that's why I can completely understand, especially like Yoshi Blade's rationale for some things, because I mean, they're things that even I myself have to overcome. And, even when I was younger, because I mean, you have to understand when I was younger, and so again, some people like, they're really like, I don't believe that at all. When I was younger, I like was afraid of everything. Like literally, and I can use literally correctly this time because I was. I mean, if it wasn't for my own friends and really my own parents in particular, for literally shoving me out the door sometimes to make me go places, I probably would still be that way.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like Yoshi Blade and I talked about scouts. His late father was in scouting quite a bit, and even to be honest with you, I really didn't want to have anything to do with that. But I mean, I would definitely say that was a good chunk of what made me who I am today.
Yeah.
And I am an Eagle Scout as a result of that. So that's something that's important, and because once you're an Eagle Scout, you're an Eagle Scout for life.
Yeah.
And that's a very important or big deal.
I won that competition. I just checked it out. Just a quick check.
Good.
Nice.
1 hour compost. Great. It was a great win this week.
What track did you do?
Oh, they did they give you a picture, 2 pictures, and you have to remix the best about the picture, because again, it's kind of difficult to give people 1 hour and then hope they'll be honest. So they give a picture and you have to match the picture to whatever song you're trying to remix. And this week it was zombies. So,
okay.
So needless to say, a lot of good ones, but
When did you have to do that? When was the contest?
A week ago yesterday. You have 1 hour at 9 p.m. to 10:20, I think, and you just got to turn in by 10:20. And what you put out there is what your entrance is. So kind of fun, It's a great thing. Compost. It's an interesting one. That's an interesting website. The Sauce. Heard of it? Then OCR does ones with them. The People's Remixing Compost. That's a good one. The 1 hour is less video game themed, but the People's Remixing Compost is, and then the Meat and Potatoes is another video game remixing one. It's great. It's a really nice little offshoot website. But good stuff. Good stuff.
I know you keep trying to push me in that direction, but not yet. In one day.
Time.
Well,
One day. I mean, it's just a good place to cut your teeth, and I love that phrase, "cut your teeth."
Sure. You love a lot of phrases.
I can just imagine someone just taking some sort of giant knife and just sticking inside of their mouth and be like, "Hang on, guys, I'm cutting my teeth. Give me a second." Like,
I could see you being like the AP English guy in high school
with cutting teeth. Well, I wondered. I thought that same thing where where you literally take a knife and cut your teeth. But you know what? I looked into it and then I found out what it actually meant. It's from a baby who's teething.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, I know, right? Because I didn't understand how cutting one's teeth would be beneficial or in any way advised, and then I found out it's cut your teeth means to start at something, and that's like when you teeth. But needless to say, little etymology. Etymology.
So how many people were in that this particular contest?
Oh, I think 9. I'm not sure.
I don't need an exact number. I'm just
it's the usual crowd.
I will say I won the life hack contest last night for inventing.
Oh yes, indeed.
Inventing
we'll let you tell this story.
Late last night we were hungry, so we went out to a local eatery of sorts. And
you make it sound like a fancy place. It was a Whataburger, guys. It was not a fancy local eatery. It was a crappy Whataburger.
So we went to the eatery of formal dining experience, and as we are going to get our nice beverages, we had straws that we were given, and my straw actually ended up having a hole in it. So I learned last night how to hack with the straw wrapper, how to patch the hole using a bunch of knots, similar to your Boy Scout knowledge of of making a complex knot system.
Sure,
Oh my
sure,
God.
but with a paper product trying to fix a hole, that's not going to work for too long.
I will say I got through most of the shake, and I only had to fix it for the second. Like once I got about 3/4 of the way done with the shake, the last quarter, I'd use another straw wrapper to mend the other part of the patch.
Okay.
And then it was fine.
So, can I please go on this rant for a second about life hacks in general?
Okay.
Okay. So here's my thing with life hacks. You're not actually hacking life. I don't know why people are like calling it life
When you're on
hacks.
the
Like,
escalator?
yeah, or like, hey, when you're on the escalator, put your freaking ankles off the edge. That way, when you stand that way, you'll be able to stretch your calves and not kill yourself. That's a life hack. It's like, no, that's not a life hack. That's a fun little tip that you get to share. Whether or not it's accurate, I don't really know. I wasn't testing it out all that much. But like, to say that it's a life hack is like, that's not really like I'm hacking into life and I'm completely winning. Like the same thing with like if you put the cell phone with like the rice and all that stuff. Like people are like, oh my gosh, that's a life hack. No, that's just a nice little like weird thing you can do. Like to me, a life hack is I figured out a way to bypass paying taxes at all. Like, or I don't have to participate in an economic system in order to exist. Like stuff like that. Or I don't need technology or like social media to have a presence online. I just am. Like that's a life hack to me. Not like these weird little tips that you get to do where I can Instagram this little post with the cursive writing be like life hacks blah 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 blah. Aren't I so intelligent? And it's like, sure, you are. Fine. You came up with a neat little tip, but it's not a hack. Just like getting on someone's Facebook account while they're at their computer. Okay, getting on someone's Facebook account while they're away from their computer, is not hacking into someone's Facebook. You did not do some incredibly... You did not do some incredibly insane algorithms to figure out what their Facebook password was and then log in on their profile. No, all you did was just get on their Facebook while you're not. So, that used to piss me off so much, being like, hey, I hacked your Facebook. It's like, no, you just got on my Facebook while I was away from it. Don't give yourself so much credit. You're not a hacker. This is not Aiden Pierce from Watch Dogs, and even he's not a hacker. He was just a magic man with a phone. But
well, you know, when I first started out in systems engineering many years ago, I actually used to make my lock screen make it look like my active desktop. So people would walk by and go, "Oh, his computer's unlocking." Go, "What?" They're like, "What?"
yeah.
It was always so fun because I'd be on the other end of the room, and sometimes people wouldn't know I'd be in the room, and they'd be like, "What?" And I'd be like, "That's just my lock screen, dude."
Yeah. Oh, jeez, that's
fun times.
Yeah.
You're laughing, Dan. What's up?
I'm laughing.
Food Tubs
Yeah,
It's a combination.
You're giggling.
What?
Food Tubs Den World.
It's the boringest amusement park I could think of. It's like the roller coaster you get on, it goes straight, goes up a hill, and then you get off at the top.
So that's what you thought was funny?
See,
That's what
No.
you thought was funny?
Yeah, that too.
see, that'd be a
What's
good
funny?
roller coaster in my mind.
Go up the hill and then just
Go
like,
up the
okay,
hill,
get off.
I'm not a fan of roller coasters. I can't do them. It's not the speed, it's not the drop, it's not any of that. It's just the fact that I'm not really the one in control. I know that sounds weird.
I thank God I'm not the one in control on a roller coaster because a lot of people would be dying. Yeah. Well, if Roller Coaster
What would we
Tycoon, if Roller Coaster Tycoon is any indication of how I would run,
I love, just
Talk about old games.
oh man.
yeah, that would be park
It
genocide
came out
or
for
something.
Windows 95.
Yeah.
Was it when? No, I thought it was. Oh, I don't remember. I thought it was no, because there was. What was it?
Roller Coaster Tycoon?
That was one of the tycoons. It was the first one. All I remember was, you'd always try and build these opulent rides, and you'd end up killing your passengers because they can't take that many G's or something. And
Either that, or you what was it, the corkscrew? You make it go faster than it's supposed to, and
shoot off the track.
Would shoot off the track.
Oh my goodness.
Have you never played this?
I've heard so much about Roller Coaster Tycoon, but I've never played it before.
It's
very
a fun
educational.
game, and I remember playing it on Windows 95, and I still have my original copy. I love breaking it out every once in a while, exactly to do that to
launch passengers.
to launch passengers off the corkscrew.
Yeah.
And they're like, and then it goes.
Several guests have died at your park, and there's like no
Accident
reprimand for
reported
it.
on the corkscrew.
That's it. 20 more of these, and you're out of business.
Oh, yeah, 20 more.
So
That's
speaking
great.
of out of business, as always, we simulcast on multiple platforms to ensure that we bring the program to you. So
Smooth
yeah,
segue.
breaking the fourth wall as always on this show. So we simulcast on Hitbox, YouTube, Gaming, Twitch TV, Shoutcast, and of course, VinnyMacRadio.com. Hitbox is the official partner for VinnyMac's 9 Radio Show podcast. So if you want to chat with us, you can do so there, although we don't anticipate that most people will utilize that as a means to chat with us during the show, because this is a podcast. Thanks for your fun laughter, Timlin.
You're welcome. It's what I provide.
So you can also email the show at theoneandonly@vinnymac.org. You can send snail mail to the show at VinnyMac's 9 Radio Show, P.O. Box 3359, Chester, Virginia, 23831. Were you waiting for me to say the zip code in a funny way?
No, also, make sure to send me your boxes.
Oh, shit. You can also text the show at 314-32-VINNY. That's 314-328-4669. Message and long distance rates do apply. And of course, you can go to VinnyMacRadio.com and go to GameChumps.tv for all the cool stuff we have there. So, as always, around this time of the show, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back after this. Welcome back, everyone, to the VinnyMac's 9 Radio Show podcast, the most radioactive show on the planet, episode 1305, the PAX South San Antonio special.
Woo!
My gosh.
What was that my gosh for?
You guys sometimes are a little bit too much.
What do you mean? I feel like I'm not too much.
During the break, we went through some emotional stuff here that killed me. It almost killed Rossi here because he was laughing to death. And, it didn't really kill you because...
I'm invincible.
You're just invincible.
Yeah, I'm level.
And Yoshi Blade over here was just like, damn it. How did I even get involved in all this crap?
I'm choking down this airborne here.
Yeah.
I mean...
A good YouTube video for you to watch in the meantime is Daruda Swag Storm.
Oh, no, please.
No, my gosh.
Hey, I'm original, hilarious, and funny. You want to know what I'm going to say if you say, hey, what's this song? I'm going to say Darude Sandstorm, because I'm original and hilarious. I have no friends, and I'm crippled by anxiety and loneliness.
Wow.
Sorry, I just really hate it when people do that on the internet.
Wow, this half of the podcast took a very interesting turn.
Sorry.
Yikes.
This is slowly becoming Tenwug hates, and he's explaining why. I hate when people do that stuff, because it's just like, oh, you're so hilarious and original, just like everyone who says take an arrow to the knee. Aren't you just so cute? Like, I can't stand it when people do that. Also, whenever people say the word, like, you're so cringeworthy, or, oh, that's so cringeworthy. Like, here's the deal, okay? Like, I'm going to go with Jesus on this one. He who is without sin cast the first stone, all right? He who is without cringe can cast the first cringe-worthiness, whatever you want to call it. We were all babies at one point in time, and we crapped ourselves constantly. We crapped our diapers, we did all that stuff, right? That's cringeworthy. So you know what? Ain't no human being alive able to say you're cringeworthy because you crapped yourself when you were a helpless little pathetic child. So you're cringeworthy. Get wrecked. I'm sorry. I hate it when people say that. I hate it.
Wow. Literally, this took a very interesting turn. I gotta tell you.
I'm glad you think it's taken an interesting turn.
Yes.
So Dan.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the world?
On the world?
Could you
be a little more general?
Welcome to Dan's Den.
Tell the world out there a little bit about yourself that you may not have mentioned on yesterday's podcast that you think people might find fascinating. I mean, you're a very interesting individual, despite what you think. Because I've said you're cool, and I've praised you in various ways, and you're just like, I've never heard anyone use that to describe me.
Specifically, I want to hear things that get underneath your skin.
Things that
just
get
like
underneath my skin.
Things that might not like genuinely upset you or like make you pissed off, but like just the little things where you're just like, oh, come on, like really, that kind of stuff. That's what I'm interested in. I think that says a lot about a person when you start figuring that stuff out.
I've learned in my life, like, not to just to let that stuff go, because like if I see somebody doing something, I just have to always point it back to how it relates to me. If somebody's trying to tell me how they're selling magic water that will make you a millionaire or something, I'll listen to how. But the minute they ask me for an investment in it, then I sort of tap out and I say, I just don't let it bother me. I really don't. People can do that, and it all goes back to how it relates to me. And
Hey, Dan, we need some investment funds for the Game Chumps crew, and which I think is a little funny considering I brought you here. Bringing you to MagFest, and literally there's very little.
Let me get my checkbook.
Yeah.
So, my magic water you don't wanna buy?
Absolutely not, and that actually sounds kind of strange. Magic water.
Wait a minute! Didn't you buy
his magic water? Is just Kool-Aid.
Which one?
Smart water.
Oh yeah. Hey. It said it's got electrolytes and will cure all my ails and bring dead family members back to life.
So why do they call it smart water? I know this kind of a tangent, forgive me, but why is it called smart water? Is it like, because we have smart phones, right? And they're supposed to be better than like normal phones, which, I mean, you can't use smartphones as a weapon sometimes, and you can use Nokia phones as weapons, so whatever, trade-offs. But anyway, why is it called smart water? Is it sentient water? Because that makes me feel very uncomfortable if it is. I need to know.
Well, Well, I'd have to talk to the marketing team over at Glacier.
It sounds like the Brondo of water. It's got electrolytes.
The Brond of Water.
Brondo. It's from the movie Idiocracy, which you told me you've never seen. So
I've never even heard of that. So
I'm like, who's Brondo? Is it Brando's brother or something?
No, Brondo is basically an energy drink that's supposed to be like Gatorade or Powerade, where in the movie they brand it as, like what everybody drinks, and it's magic because it has electrolytes.
And they try to have their crops Brondo and water.
Well, from electrolytes just basically means salt. I mean, so it sounds better, but I don't think people would want to buy salted water. But hey, it sounds like it. It's got electrolytes. Well, it's got Electra. That's like electron. I'm kind of a chemist now for knowing that. No, it's just salts. I mean, enjoy
I mean, you're working to continue your education to work on your nursing degree, and like I've told you before, me working in physics and the various sciences, that encompasses all of the sciences: biology, chemistry. And I mean, you learn a little bit about both.
It's what's could be called a buzzword. It's a buzzword. I mean,
sure.
That's all there. It's a buzzword.
Yeah.
Buzzes. Like a bee. Yeah, like a bee.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So smart water.
So, what other kind of stuff gets under your skin? Since Stembug here wanted to know.
What gets under my skin?
VinnyMac gets under your skin all the time.
It's a trap.
Yeah, Connor's just going to use this against you later.
No, I'm not. I only use it against Matt. Trust me.
Basically, I don't know what else. Just talk, not do. Those are things that bug me.
That's funny because that's what I keep telling you. Because I'm like, hey, you keep talking about all this.
Yeah,
stop talking. Do it.
That's true. That, and I'm not even going to put myself above that. I'm about 80% talk and only about 20% do. But that's okay because that 20% do is just solid, rock solid. And
but that's also why I'm here to help you do as well.
That's true. That's about it.
That's exactly why, or one of the main reasons why I came up to your place.
That's true. You have to. You just do.
And that's also why you're here too. Because if it weren't for me, not just helping you get here, but also literally trying to figure out why you didn't want to come, you wouldn't be here.
It's nice. It's nice to be here, and it's got great warm weather here in San Antonio.
Shoot, yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's better than anything that just dumped on us. Oh man, it's just I can't imagine.
Whether it be you or in Virginia and all the snow we got.
Yeah, I guess I missed out on that. We have our own little mini we got the snow belt up by us, so we're actually in an interesting place where it's close enough to the river to not get it, but it's strange. But yeah, that's not too crazy. But from what I heard, it got crazy. So
yeah, and it's still crazy. It's still melting.
Oh, it is still melting. Oh
yes.
Boy.
Sounds like the exact reason why I moved away from Pennsylvania.
And yeah, for any of you guys out there who have any technology-related jobs out there, let me know, because I want to move to someplace warm like Phoenix or Dallas or...
If you have anything in Dallas, please let us know. I want all my friends to be in Dallas with me. That would be awesome.
And the offer has to be awesome because it has to be way better than what I have now, which is pretty awesome. So,
And then you can have Dan Does Dallas. Triple D.
Well, we already did.
Whoa, wasn't that the name? I don't know.
Well, we already did Dan Does Dallas on Wednesday and Thursday.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that a play on Debbie Does Dallas?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Huh. Yes, it is. And it's kind of funny it happened and you didn't even know.
I never put that together.
Wow.
Dan Does Dallas.
Wow.
Dan D cubed D3.
So anything else that gets under your skin, Dan?
Mostly muscles and veins. Some bone.
Yeah, we all have that.
Subcutaneous
Soft
tissue.
clap.
Yeah, we all have that. So aside from things that get under your skin, because that's not what I wanted. What I was curious.
Well, aren't you boring?
No. If I was boring, this show wouldn't have been running for 13 series.
Indeed.
13 seasons.
He's spitting some truth.
Can't talk. Never could.
Okay.
Literally, I never could. Not very well. Which is funny, because I do a show.
I guess
do it quite
my
well.
question for you would be, what is your process for when you have like a creative block? Like, what do you do to get over it?
Oh, wow. I guess when I find the answer out to that, I'll tell you. But at this point, I have none. It's basically just you have to suffer through it. I can put this. I can say this. If you cannot be sort of the ethereal mind creativity, be the technical creative, and that's just basically learn the song. I mean, if you're trying to do anything, learn the song. I mean, you won't be creative. You'll just mechanically know what notes, what to press, when. And then when you are creative, you'll retain that information, that sort of... there's this term that's thrown around a lot, muscle memory. I don't know if I like that, but it's the only way I can really describe it. And then you'll be able to synthesize that with your sort of, whatever's above that, the process of how can I change this to make this better. And really,
Sure.
So the answer is just suffer through it.
Now,
Suffer through it and learn the technical aspect of it. Just that's all there is to it, really. I mean, at least for me. Everybody else, if you've got any other ways you do it, or anybody else does it, let me know, and I'd be interested to
well,
try
during
it.
yesterday's podcast, we were talking about that, and we had talked about how you found it helpful, especially when I was there, to basically drag you away sometimes.
Yeah, well, absence makes the heart grow fonder, and I can tell you, the one thing I have figured out with anything in life, if you deprive yourself, if you work at it very much and then deprive yourself of it, you'll go back to it and hug it and just embrace it even more. It's like, everybody goes in the gym and thinks when they're lifting weights, that's when they're building muscle. You're not building muscle when you're lifting the weights. You're building muscle when you're not lifting the weights. When you're at home sleeping, of all things, is when you're actually building the muscle. And I think people forget that. And it's kind of the same way with your your brain. I mean, I've got no certifications in neurology, but I'd say it's very similar. That you have to work at it, and then let it shut down and process it.
I totally agree.
That's I think a lot of people but when you love something, when you obsess over something, it's hard to pry yourself away from it, and so the idea of not doing it, that's a unique feeling to me. I'd say that's the one most unique thing that's come to me when I started fiddling with music and whatnot, was the idea that yes, you can love something, but at the same time you have to sort of deprive yourself of it.
Sure.
Sort of a periodic mental fast, if you will.
I think it's not necessarily a deprivation, but I prefer coining the term, you're giving yourself a rest, it's because that's a significantly more positive connotation. In fact, one of my mentors and good friend, Steve Lutz, often talked about the importance of rest, not just, working hard, because Americans, we love to work, we love to be busy, we love to do all this stuff, but yet I think that we sometimes forget rest, because we think if we're not doing something, then that equates to laziness. That's why, like, with the creative process I have, I'm so strict about not trying to do so much on Sundays, because or having like one day throughout the week where it's like I don't record, I don't do anything, I don't audition, I just fart about today, metaphorically speaking, of course. But...
And after Yoshi Blade and I departed, after I visited him and he visited me, and we visited MC Percoletta in Raleigh, and I got sick. I always seem to get sick whenever I get down there for some reason. But anyway, I told Yoshi Blade that I made a promise to myself, not like a New Year's kind of thing, but just something I had done at the end of the year, as just part of things to change for the better, that when I'm not actively working overnight, because most of you guys out there know that I do a lot of work overnight, not just during the day during typical business hours, but when I'm not actually working, I'm going to try my best. And of course that's part of why I changed the diet a bit to help with that. Try to go to bed before midnight, and I think I've done very well with that. And Yoshi Blade's definitely understood, because we definitely chat a lot about that. And, I think it's definitely helping with that process of getting rest, because when I am doing that, I am getting, more fuller night's rest, which is for me weird, very weird, because I don't really know what that is anymore. As we've already said, that's very important for a creative mind.
It is, because then you can recharge and you can just do whatever, maybe you're at that mental block and you take that rest or whatever, and you're like, you come back and you're like, oh, maybe I should do something like this. You're sort of recharged and you're not burnt out. I feel like, especially in America, we like to burn ourselves out because we're so obsessed with just stuff. Just
going back, I think it's very important not just to get rest, but also to pull yourself away from whatever it is you're doing. If you've been sitting at the computer trying to figure something out for like 6 hours, sometimes even 4 hours, it doesn't have to be that long. and you're trying to figure something out and you just can't. Sometimes you need to just get away. Even if it's just to, go out and, I don't know, get a coffee or
I'm a
play a
big
game.
walk around the block person. Like, if
Yeah.
I'm ever having a big stump, I live in like the borderline of a college town, so there's a college within 2 blocks of me. What I'll do is I'll walk all the way and then do a perimeter around that and then come back in. And normally, a lot of your ideas come to you when you're doing very repetitive tasks or tasks that are kind of in the back of your mind as well.
That's. Do you think exercise has something to do with that?
Because
I have not yet figured that out, and I'm actually interested to hear other people think. Does exercise help you, or does it hinder you?
I totally think so.
I think it does.
Yeah.
I think the biggest
Helps or
thing is
hinders?
that
it helps.
for creativity, you have to find a way to shut off your mind. And what exercise does is it forces you to completely shut off on one simple task. And then all of your creativity normally comes to you when you're not thinking about it. That's why creative thoughts, when you're off spacing out into the middle of nowhere, showering, reading, doing a task that has nothing related to what you're doing.
I guess I'm the outlier here when I would say that it doesn't really help me. I feel like somehow
fair.
I don't know why. I maybe it's the day I figure out what stokes my creativity, I suppose, is the day you exploit it. I mean, am I right? Like kind of like the goose that lays the golden egg. I mean, you can accept that at a certain sort of whatever you want to say, like mythological way, like we'll never know, this sort of black box that just creates something and it does it of its own accord. And then there's those who seek to actually crack out and say, but why does it do that? And I was just reading something about the Broad Street pump the other day. It was this pump in England about a cholera outbreak, and nobody knew what was causing it. And somebody said, well, I'm not just going to accept and say, well, this many people have to die because of it. I'm going to figure out why. And he found out it was because of a pump. It was a pump that was being leaked into. And I thought, wow, that's sort of amazing that somebody just didn't take what it was. They didn't say, well, I can accept 20 deaths a week. I'm going to get that down to 5. And that person, Jon Snow, actually their name was, not Game of Thrones. I know, right? That's where my brain went first. He said, I'm going to figure it out. And he figured it out. And things got better. So I don't know. It might be a good thing to try and figure out what your
Well, I guess the question I have for you, though, is that when you're actually working out or doing other tasks that really have nothing to do with content creation, because honestly, I think this got me for a very long time, was that when I would work out or run or whatever, usually whatever I was thinking about, in terms of the intensity, would never leave. Like, I'd still be, like, really thinking about it, even though, I'm doing something completely different. So I guess the question I have is, when you're actually doing any kind of exercise, are you actually letting your mind go to actually
I've heard
to exercise?
a lot about the difference between creativity and focus. Focus, I know exercise increases focus. Creativity just seems more ethereal, more sort of a nuanced definition. I mean, what does it mean but to be creative versus what does it mean to be focused? Focused you can kind of quantify. Can you really quantify creativity? I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's up for you to decide. But the focus part is the interesting part, and this is like a deep subject. I think if we had a panel here of neurologists, we wouldn't get any agreement. But we don't need that. We just need individual experiences. And as an individual experience, I found that exercise it feels great. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like just like washing out my body of all these terrible sort of like this lackluster, it feels great to sweat and all that good stuff, but at the same time, there's something beneficial about the sort of meanderings of the mind that you allow it when it's.
But that's the thing. Are you letting your mind meander when you go exercising? Because again,
no. I always pop in my headphones and I pop on my music and I say, well, let's listen to this track, not from an analytical standpoint, from a does it sound good standpoint. So perhaps you're right. I don't know.
Well, and the other thing I'm curious about is that, video game music is kind of like my go-to place for music, as it is for you, I'm sure.
It is.
And, I kind of, most of you guys out there know that I came from rock and roll, pop genres, and I kind of had to get back into those a little bit just to, I know you're...
Oh, no, I'm just nodding and I'm listening. I apologize.
No, you're cool. So, and I kind of had to get back into it because... by continuing to listen to a lot of the video game related tracks that I continue to listen to, it was, really just reiterating stuff I've already heard, stuff I've already, I already know. I mean, sure, I might hear a new track here and there. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, that doesn't allow me to deviate to other stuff that may be going on in other genres, which you could bring back to the table with video game music. and also just the sheer fact of just forgetting about what you're doing, because as you've already told me during the podcast yesterday, you found that, or at least from what you did say, you felt like you were more creative when I was there because I was able to get you away for a little bit here and there. And
VinnyMac, maybe you're my muse. Maybe I need to maybe I need to chain you up and keep you in my room.
Oh,
maybe you are my golden goose.
And you were saying that Matt and I are the ones that make this podcast weird, Vinny.
We all float on.
We float out. Like that.
Good
well,
reference.
I mean,
everything floats down here.
Again, when you're by yourself, and trust me, even for me, this was difficult many years ago. You got to learn to say, okay, I need to, take a break from this for a little bit. And trust me, that's really hard, especially when you have a professional career. In my case, working with technology, because you're getting paid to do that, and there's an expectation. But I mean, when you're doing something that's a dream or something that you love, which for me is definitely that, you definitely need to learn to say, yes, I need to take a break. Whether, again, that be go downstairs, watch something.
Yeah, I
read something, read a book, or go out, hang out with some friends for a little bit. I mean, anything really, because, like I said, I think that's stifled some of my creativity over the years, and
sure.
I think I'm learning myself how to tame that.
Tame it.
And
yeah, I think that's a good word for it.
Tame it. I like that. It's well put.
And I'm definitely willing to help anybody else with that as well. I told Yoshi Blake, because he was all excited. He's like, "Oh, we can go running in San Antonio," and I'm like, I'm not going running in San Antonio.
Yeah, I look around. This is not a running town. This is not a running town. It's a walking town. Walk and enjoy. Don't run.
Yeah.
So your stairs on though.
What's up?
You can get your stairs on.
Yeah, you can get your stairs on.
You can get your stairs on. That's true. Or you could walk down creepy alleys and then turn around and walk back out of them quite quickly.
But I mean, I can already tell you. I can already tell you that when we go back to reality, when we all go back to our respective places.
Because this isn't Tuesday. Reality.
No, it's not.
I mean, it's an
convention's like a pocket reality for a short period of time.
I will be getting back to Richmond very late in the afternoon on Tuesday, and literally I can already tell you that that entire evening is going to be left to digress, to forget about video games and video game music, just because I've been focusing on that for about a month now, like solid, and I'm gonna have 2 days to get myself together for Phoenix, for my trip to Phoenix.
Yeah, you're heading out.
Gonna be spending a week and a half with Flex Style and King Tiger here and there.
That's cool.
And gonna be there for his 25th birthday celebration.
Oh, nice.
That's gonna be very exciting. There's actually a couple of things we're gonna be doing for that, but of course the one I'm really excited about is the party we're doing at Endgame. Of course, Connor has been there.
That is a very, very interesting place. I love the concept of it.
And I not only like the concept of it, but I definitely like its location. I like it's on the second level.
Yeah.
And it's just really cool how it's laid out. And we're all gonna have a good time. I'm gonna be getting in early afternoon, Mountain Time, and the event I think starts at 10. But we'll probably have to get there at like 6 or something. And then from there on out, it's going to be hopefully a solid week and a half of meeting of the minds, trying to figure out some new concepts as far as creation of tracks and things like that.
That's quite a team you've got there, Flex Style and King Tiger 2.
Now bear in mind that at times it may just be me, but
sure.
Flex Style is going to be there, obviously, and I'm going to be with him the entire time.
Fiercely talented individual, Flex Style. I really can't. I can't praise him enough. He's such a cool guy. Not just in person, but also his work. That's rare that it matches up such 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Personality and talent. He really is somebody that you know, I don't like to use this word deserves to be better. I mean, he is better than he's top shelf, both in everything he does, personality wise, remixing wise. I mean, everything. His sharp productions. He's constantly putting out material. It hits hard. It lingers in your mind. It's good stuff. And I'm one of these days. I'd like to meet him. I think. Well, actually, I did meet him.
You met him just not for an extended period of time.
I met him quite briefly, talking to him in the halls at MagFest 2015.
And that was incidentally when I brought him.
That's when you brought him. I mean, he was he's such a cool guy. I mean, really, what more do I need to say? He's a cool guy. And King Tiger too, of course. King Tiger is a man of many hats. I think that's strange because he wears. Doesn't he wear the does he wear the fedora or the top?
No, I don't think it's him who wears the fedora.
That's but both of them. Fierce remixers from Phoenix.
And believe me, even though I have no real reason, I am scared out of my mind to be down there for a week and a half.
Why is that?
Because there's a lot that I want to do and a lot that.
Why does that instill fear?
Well, it's again just because the natural state of who I am and my personality, and the fact I'm a timid person.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing to be feared, only things to be understood. So think about that. You know, figure out what you want to gain from that trip. You know.
I mean, except for a T-Rex trying to eat you. I mean, I'm afraid of that.
So for those of you guys who don't know, it's kind of funny when Yoshi Blade and I exchange words like this, because I exchange like the same words to him when he's feeling the same way, because we
form a nice echo chamber.
We do. I mean,
what good friends do, though.
When it comes down to it, we're very similar in terms of our personalities. I mean, we're different in a lot of respects, but I mean, in terms of that characteristic in particular, we're very similar, and it's just so funny. There's a literal echo anytime I'm feeling, you know, the same way he may have been like a week ago. It's like I'm literally hearing myself say it.
See,
it's no joke.
It's odd that you mentioned the fears and stuff like that, because for the most part, I feel like, not that I'm like, oh, look at me, I'm such an awesome, invincible person, because I'm not, but like, I don't often, excuse me, I don't often acknowledge a lot of the fears that I have, and I mean, I should definitely do a better job at it, for sure, but there's nothing that will. And Matt knows this and loves to poke fun at me constantly for this. There's nothing that'll get me to stop in my tracks faster than the yandere trope in anime as far as fears. You know, people have logical fears in real life, you know, trying to tackle a lot of, you know, projects, concepts, stuff like that. But for me, it's the yandere trope in anime that'll stop me in my tracks. That'll get me legitimately afraid. I'll have nightmares, stuff. It's just, and it's not what that person can do to me, but it's more like what that character, that trope can do to other people. And basically, for those of you who don't know, by the way, a little bit of an education for you. The yandere trope in an anime or manga is basically, well, this is going to be a crass way of putting it, and I apologize, but it's a psycho stalker bitch, for lack of better phrasing. And someone who is obsessed with this other person, who will go to any lengths to ensure that she and her lover are united in some permanent manner, and oftentimes this might result in multiple people dying, the lover dying, the girl dying, some sort of death occurring, violence, just crazy stalkerness everywhere. It's just I'm just not a fan. But anyway, so fears, deepest, darkest fears, you know, I feel it, but I don't know. Yeah, so it's embrace your fear.
And I mean, bear in mind,
don't ask what your yandere simulation can do for you, but what you can do for your yandere simulation.
Well,
Vinny,
anyway,
continue.
Yeah. Anyway, bear in mind, there's nothing wrong with being afraid or having fears, but you know, as I've said before, especially in yesterday's podcast, and this is kind of where I think I do very well, especially the last few years. You know, don't let those fears become a deterrent for making your, you know, not only trying to make yourself great, but to learn to grow. Because again, overcoming those fears could allow you to do something that could change the industry in so many ways. Because I personally have done it time and time again. But you know, again, I always, you know, this is just who I am, and this is just how it's always going to be. I'm always going to go into a scenario, and I may appear to be incredibly calm and nonchalant and just I may appear to be cool, but as I've said before, inside it's just like,
Yeah, it's funny that we're talking about this because one of my favorite games of all time is actually is actually Persona 4, specifically the Golden Edition. And back when I was like really struggling hardcore with like anxiety, depression, fears, and stuff like that, I started to play through this game. And a lot of what the themes were as far as like self-confrontation, and not like, I hate myself, but like, look, I've got some junk that I've got to sort through. I've got some things that I need to acknowledge, not just like the darker parts of myself, but like my own fears, my own anxieties, all this stuff. And I think that oftentimes we kind of train ourselves to run away from confronting our fears, or we train ourselves to run away from that stuff because
and that was certainly, especially when I was very younger, I would always be doing that. And
sure,
I look back on that and I'm just like, that if I really didn't have people behind me trying to force me to do things, and that's honestly, I guess people like me, you kind of have to force them to do things, even if they are kicking you in the face, because again, if those things didn't happen, I mean, there's just no way I could be successful with anything that I've ever done.
And to me, it's just not just a matter of success. It's just a matter of like health as well, of physical health maybe, but, I'm talking about more like mental and social health. But, within this game, the people that get, that aren't able to confront their darker selves, they actually end up dying. And so you're helping these people sort of confront themselves, and running from that and doing that is no way to do it, even though that feels very attractive, because it sucks when you have to confront these fears that you have, when you have to work through that stuff. But when you've got people who sort of step alongside you, who help you work through that, it can be good. That's why Vinny, I think that's why we, the Game Chumps, are here, not just for everyone else's own entertainment, but you've said so yourself, you want to help out other people. And
sure,
I totally think that's awesome, that we're trying to essentially do life together. Maybe we're not in the same physical location all the time.
Absolutely. And the last month or so with Yoshi Blade over here, that's a good example. Sure. I've certainly helped him quite a bit with a variety of things.
Patron saint of video game remixers. Patron saint of video game remixers.
But naturally, like I said, he's kind of the echo. Reminded me exactly what I've told him. And also, learning.
I like that.
Learning some new things.
The echo. I like that. That's a nice moniker for me.
Yeah.
The echo.
So, because sometimes you have to hear your own words from somebody else too.
That's true.
Even if they're the same thing.
Yeah.
Because in the end, I'm going to be like, damn it,
Dan.
But still,
you're right.
But still, it's words from my own mouth, and gotta take them for what they are.
From the patron saint himself.
Yeah. So I'm human, just like anybody else. There's so many of us out there.
I'm actually half human. No, I'm
well,
fully
you're invincible
human.
Anyway, so I can't really.
No, I
can't really compete.
I'm totally not invincible. I may look it because I really don't like it. When people sort of worry about me or think how is Connor gonna react to this or how's whatever. But I totally have a ton of chinks in my armor, and I already mentioned one, but like another huge one is like loneliness. In fact, like that's. Like I hate having to think about loneliness and sort of being isolated. I'm an extrovert, so like I need people, but
sure.
I've sort of been in those moments where I've like had to be alone at night by myself when it's like I don't know if I really want to continue living, and it's like I don't know, I have an aversion to being alone. So I am not, maybe physically I am pretty high up there, but I've definitely got my emotional, mental, and spiritual chinks in the armor, I guess you could say.
And
sadly.
Every once in a while I'll have that thought too. Being an introvert, you can still have that thought of being, it'd be really cool or really nice to have somebody around every once in a while.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think about it and I'm like, no, that's why I have friends.
You don't want to get bothered down, yeah.
No, because what I mean is that when sure, there's that, but at the same time, when it's all said and done, at the end of the day, I can just go home or go to sleep, and not have to worry too much about said person.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe one day. But I mean, Yoshi Blade and I talked about this extensively. In that, you know, like especially with where we're trying to go from a music standpoint. You know, sure. Like having a significant other would certainly be cool, and it's not like we're not like looking. You know, we are.
Well, music is my significant other.
But that's the thing. You know, we know that that you know, having a significant other and especially having kids, geez, that is going to like rip away any and all time from that you know thing.
Well, sure, yeah, it's all part of that, you know, family relationship or any very close relationship where you sacrifice in order to contribute, in order to be there for that other person. But
yeah, but it's
but
one
family
of those,
specifically.
Sure, but it's one of those things where you're just like, maybe one day, but not now.
Sure.
So, and I'm not sure what Dan's doing right now.
Oh no, I heard of.
It's like the fridge.
Yeah, it's probably charging us money right now to do that.
Yeah,
That's your cooling cost.
But I mean, no, you know, I thought about it for a long time, and because I've been
What?
It's the podcast recording cost.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's
division.
true. That's true.
I mean,
You've gone over 1 hour. That's a penalty on that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, I've thought about it for a long time, and I've had relationships, and they've all been cool. But that's the problem is that, you know, they really deter from, especially if that person isn't necessarily interested in that goal of yours, which is a problem. Then that can certainly stifle that idea or that thing you're doing from coming to fruition or coming closer to fruition.
Yeah.
Because we all know that video games and video game music requires time.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already said too many times on
anything requires
on the
time.
podcast. Well, I mean, sure, but I mean, like, you know, I think that's where our good friend Yoshi Blade here has done very well.
In what regards?
Is the fact that you've taken the time to play with your digital audio workstation.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You know, I do call it work, but at the same time, you know, it's work I enjoy. So
it's a process still.
I mean, I'm just saying that, you know, you're not just like, oh, well, there's a lot of stuff and I'm giving up because
I mean,
it looks complicated.
Look. The reality is if it is an equal parts labor of love, and it is love. I mean, if you go in there and you don't want to learn the song, okay. I mean, just get really good at, you know, mouse clicking, remixing. You know, being able to chop it up. I mean, I can. It's tough to do. At least for me to be creative like that. But you know, even like on the OCR, they even acknowledge that you can do it that way. But it's far better to learn an instrument, to know an instrument, to at least give you some basic understanding and have fun. You know, I mean, really try and have fun. When you get a good track, have fun with it. Jump around the room. You know, throw your arm out of socket. You know, dancing around. I don't know.
Do that.
I get.
I'd rather not throw my arm out of it.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about jumping around.
Well, jumping around.
Oh,
I
yeah,
found that these pendants, these necklaces, will hit you in the tooth if you're not careful, and that'll put a damper on your one man party. But
no, I mean, I think that's just a very important thing is because I mean, when I work with people, time and time again, they get frustrated within the first hour or two because I mean, and I think you, Matt, and Connor can understand. You know, you look at FL and you're just like, wow, there's just a lot to this, and people get very intimidated very quick, and they're just like, I don't know if this is for me. And
you just got to figure out where to start.
Sure.
I feel as you know, because I'm still figuring out that myself, but I feel as though, you know, I've got like some good starting points, but you know, once you figure out where to start with whatever area you're learning about, you know, you got to figure out starting, okay, what do I need to start learning about? And then, you know, with like, you know, as far as the notes of something, like, okay, how do I figure out how to do notes for something? And then you start, you know, learning and getting familiar with that process. Then you know, get familiar with, okay, now how do I learn about the controllers, you know, and you start getting familiar with all those processes. You just got to figure out different start points for everything. And that's sometimes the hard part, but
sure.
Then,
you know, when I guess kind of made the decision a while ago, and, you know, time just hasn't been on my side until recently to, you know, pick this up, but from the standpoint of video game music as opposed to, again, rock and roll and pop culture and, or not pop culture, but just pop music in general. Because where I got my biggest start many years ago was, of course, mashups. Before mashups were even a thing, and then copyright came along, and
Good old copyright
law, and that stifled that quite a bit, and that put a lot of fear in me, more than most people can even imagine. Because I mean that is tough, especially when you're in the middle of it. But anyhow, Yoshi Blade, he's certainly heard many of my work in progress tracks, and of course we played some of them yesterday at the during the pre-show. But that's kind of my whole goal, is to learn at least the source, learn how to play it, and I do it using a basic MIDI sequencer. I do it outside of a digital audio workstation. Because I want to get pretty intimate with the instruments that are involved, because that also allow me to not only understand how the track itself works, but also determine what I can potentially do with it and how I can morph it into whatever it is that I want. And there's two tracks I have in particular that are coming along pretty nicely, that I think are coming along nicely just in the fact that I learned the source and I played it, and I'm figuring out some really cool things to do with it. And like I've said before, I'm really excited to see how all that turns out, because so far I'm really pleased, and it's, like I said, just a matter of getting some really good chunks of time to finalize all that stuff and get it to where I want it to be. So
Sure.
The two big tracks that I have on the table right now are, of course, the Furry Cubed track that I've been working on last year.
The Furry
Cubed, it's a game.
Oh, Fury. I thought you said furry. Like,
Yeah, he did say furry. I just want for the record to say it sounded like he said furry.
like just
I'm
like
is
three
that-
different
is that the
three
name?
different like people in fox outfits.
Is that
or
the name
something.
of the remix? He's calling.
Yeah.
I mean, that's clever.
Furry Cubed?
Furry Cubed.
I mean,
I like
whatever
it.
works.
Well,
but
like it.
anyway,
Fury. Sorry.
So like I said, I can't talk. But anyhow, that's one of them. Last year, Overclock Remix is part of being one of their biggest financial supporter on Patreon, and also in the fact that I do a lot on the back end that a lot of people don't know about, and that's fine. They asked, as part of the monthly Patreon backer thing they do, asked what type of remix I'd like to see somebody do, and of course it was from Fury Cube.
You did say
Cube.
furry.
No, well, I did that time because I got it in the head now. Thinking of furries now. Anyway, no, Fury Cube.
That's never a good thing to be
No.
thinking about. Never.
No. So they asked, and I told them, I said, well, one of these two tracks, it's really up to you. Both are really good. I never heard anything after that again. And I had told them also, through Patreon and also through their group email chain that they have, and never heard from them as far as that particular thing goes. So I kind of decided that I would attempt to, anyway, to see what I could do with it, and at least from the standpoint of what I'm doing with it in MIDI form, it sounds incredible. And so if it sounds incredible in the form of a MIDI, it's going to sound really crazy when you actually attach real live instruments to it, and of course, master it appropriately.
I'm learning that the hardest instruments to me to find that I enjoy are any type of guitar.
Really?
Like, just as far as a good sample or whatever, as far as just, that's always I'm always just no, no, it's too electronic. Oh, it's too, it's just I just want to
And again, that's a good point as far as driving the point home to the people that this takes time, because you're gonna say, well, I'm trying to find a guitar sample here to use, and I just either can't find it, or
might
it's taking
spend
me,
an entire
it's
week
taking
trying
me
to find
forever
that.
trying to find the right one to use.
Yeah.
And I think Dan and I had a conversation recently about this too. Is my biggest problem and hurdle in going through music creation is I'm a very visual, very hands-on person from it. And I see it with your MIDI keyboard. That's a little bit easier because you can actually visualize and play through with that in terms of recording. Whenever I'm looking at these plugins, I've been recently learning the viola and learning the cello, and I have my ocarina there, and I've been learning the actual physical ends of physically playing the instrument before I go into the actual electronic sounds for it, because, like you're fun, I could spend 2-3 weeks trying to pick out an individual sound when it's hard for me to connect that throw. But if you put me with an actual physical instrument, I can feel it, like, physically. Like, that actual use of hitting the buttons on your saxophone or using certain holes on a ocarina, you can actually visually see it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And, that's why in my own music creation, even before Yoshi Blade and I worked, it's kind of ironic because I have the same 37-key MIDI keyboard that he has.
The Korg. It's a good keyboard.
Yeah.
The only thing I could suggest is if you have to get a keyboard, go with the full set. It's good.
That is, of course, if your space can allow it, because, of course, that's why I chose that a while back, because, I don't really have the room to have a full-size keyboard. But, if you can do it and you can afford it, then cool. But I know that, because, these typically go on sale, the 37 chord keyboards. You can usually get them for like $40 these days. So, of course, when I got it a while back, that's not, they were kind of expensive.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, much like Matt here, I'm definitely very in tune to the physical instrument. Sure, I do a lot of pointing and clicking too, but that's more from the perspective of mastering and trying to, rework certain sections of the track.
I think I would be hopeless in the chop edit that you were mentioning earlier. I think I would never be able to get anything done with that.
Well,
Basically existing and chopping it.
That's part of being all-encompassing in anything you do. You just try. If you don't know how to do it, at least be familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
And of course, going back to yesterday's podcast, it is not going to hurt you at all, and in fact, it'll, I'm sure, help you, because the worst anybody will say is to reach out to anybody in the community that you think is doing something similar that you're trying to do or using the same visual audio workstation. That's true.
And something, I hate to plug them again, but if you're looking for a website, OC Remix, Overclocked Remix, you'll find a community there that is surprisingly tangential to where you are.
Yep.
Running in the same direction, maybe not the same genre, but
Sure.
you'll find somebody. Everything orchestral. I'm trying to think of one genre that I haven't heard on there, and the only one that might come to mind is I don't know,
Something obscure like math rock.
I'd even say that.
There's that.
Are you kidding me? There's math rock on
Yeah.
OC Remix.
They just got one. What's this new one? What is it called? Intelligent Dance or something? I just that name kind of bugs
so
me.
if the original song isn't in math rock, then I don't know how I'd feel about that, because sometimes I get like really upset when people have like a song that's in like one time signature and then they like put it in another one where it's like, here's a 3/4 song that I'm gonna have in 4/4. Like, I'm just like, you could say that I'm triggered whenever that happens.
There's that word.
There's that word, triggered.
That word.
Oh boy.
So,
And I think even creative fields, it extends to everything you do. This is a lesson that you take for a lot of things, that collaborating, just reaching out to people help a lot.
Yeah.
Even in the YouTube verse, you run a channel where, you make it purposely bad, but half the fun is all the people that you bring along the way, and that you just kind of get off of a whim.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. And do remember that content creation, whether it be music, YouTube, Twitch streaming, it's all, in the end, mentally exhausting.
It is.
Yeah.
And, make sure, as I said before, that, you get away from the keyboard sometimes. Because honestly, I think that's where a lot of people fail. And, especially with Twitch streamers. Because with a lot of them, there's this expectation that if they're not streaming,
Then what are you doing with your life?
7, 8
you need to
hours
be
a day.
12 hours a day of playing video games, like, in front of an audience. I can't do that. Like, if you want to do that, fine. But, like, it's one thing to play a game. It's one thing to talk to people. It's one thing to play a game and be a performer. Because that's really what you're doing on Twitch. You're being a performer. Some people are like, oh, doing a Let's Play channel, live streaming on Twitch, it's not that hard. But, like, you're performing with people. And especially on Twitch, you're and if you've got a chat that's really interactive, you're interacting with people live, and you might not always know who that person is. Maybe you get like a really good audience. I mean, I was very thankful for whenever I did live streaming a lot, I had a really good audience. But you always might get that one like weird guy or that one very disrespectful person who comes in, and as a performer you've got to handle it, and it's just like
Banned.
That kind of stuff. Yeah, banned. Exactly, you drop the ban hammer. But like that kind of stuff, it just builds and adds up. So and I don't know, it's never as easy as you might think it is, and I just want to say that to people out there who are like, oh, it's just talking, or it's just playing a video game, or it's just whatever. So I don't know.
Well, hey, I mean, with any of my streams, whether it be the podcast, a Twitch stream, or anything, all that stuff with me is very complicated because there's a lot of people that have that work behind the scenes to make that work.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess it's true about radio and television. There's always this assumption that it just works, and there isn't much behind it. But I mean,
no, that's not how it is.
But I mean, like I told you guys, when I used to do the show on FM, I had 60 people on staff. That's a lot of people for one show. Now, granted, we had a runtime of 18 hours in the course of 2 days. That was pretty crazy that we would do every week. It's also interesting to see where some of those people are today.
Yeah.
And both the good and the bad. There
Yeah,
are some who are, doing it as a continued career, and there are some who have dropped off the face of the planet.
Yeah. And the reason why you have like so many people with stuff like that is because especially for a show like that, there's so many ways that it can go wrong, and you just need someone wholly devoted to counteracting that one way.
Now, I will definitely say that, that was also in the days where social media really wasn't something that a lot of people were on.
Yeah.
I mean, I was on it, but of course there was no real use for it just yet. So of course, well, I mean, and I guess especially in the early days, social media just literally wasn't around. And of course online just wasn't where it is. Broadband wasn't widely available. So, we didn't have all these distribution networks. We also didn't have a variety of news networks out there, ways of getting stories about what's going on in the world.
All we had was good old Fox News. Hashtag thank God for Fox News. No, not really. I would never.
But I mean, those were days where, I've said in the last few years, I said, social media were as big as it is today, that the show probably would have been very different in probably a bigger way, I think. And, I constantly think about that and then kind of say, well, maybe not, because at the same time, social media can get a little crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's why I only have, I mainly use my Facebook. I have a Twitter. I'm not that great at using it, and just because there's just too much that feels like it goes on for me, and I can't do anything else besides that. I've talked with you about this. I just can't do there's Instagram and there's Google Plus, and I have a Vine account that I occasionally Vine on it, maybe once in a blue moon, but there's just so much. And
sure,
I know some people are like, oh, you need social media. Oh, that's the way that things are going. Oh, that's the way that this and the way that that. But I don't know. I feel like social media, sure, there's some good stuff with the connectivity there, right? There's I can keep tabs on people that, I might have known, back in whatever. And it's I can keep tabs on them, or some voice acting people, other, fellow voice actors, we can keep tabs on each other. But outside of that, there's just so much that goes on with social media. And I feel I personally feel it's more of a detriment than it is a benefit. And honestly, if I didn't have to have a social media account for work, I just wouldn't bother with it at all.
Sure.
But I just have to, and that's just an unfortunate part of my reality.
And this is something that Dan should pay attention to.
Social media utilization.
Yeah, because
it's true.
Because I've always been in the same boat, and I've trust me, even when social media first became a big deal, in 2004, I was just I really don't want, I don't really want to do that, and it was just kind of well, I kind of have to.
Yeah.
Because I'm a public figure in the sense I'm a broadcaster, a musician, a producer, an underground DJ, all these things.
Yeah.
And, again, even though, kind of like you said, they can be a deterrent, they can be, something that will make you just depressed sometimes. You also have to, much like again, Dan here, you gotta learn when to get away from it. Take a break.
It's true.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I've never had that problem of like, oh man, I need to pry myself away. Like, I'm always all too eager to just be like, I just want to obliterate my Facebook and Twitter accounts and just never get back on.
I mean, where I'm getting at this is that, for anybody that's especially anyone who's with OCR, because I mean,
yeah,
I know that there's a lot of people with OCR that really have no online presence, and that's a problem because these are people that, like me, and I'm sure a lot of other people would like to be able to get in contact with and work with, and there's just no way. And Instagram is nice for what it is, but it's not really a good communication tool, I feel anyway. I mean, it's good for basic chat and photos, of course, but at the same time, that's why I like me and FlexStyle. We're good examples of this. We only really use Twitter and Facebook for communication. That's really it. I mean, sure, we'll post photos. That's good. Sure, we'll post photos and, we'll let people see what we're doing. But at the same time, that's really all it is.
I think that's all it should be.
Yeah. So I know that a lot of people use it for more than just that. But at the same time, as a musician, somebody who's in the community, I mean, that's why you should have it.
Don't get lost in online media.
Yeah, don't get lost in online media.
Because there was a world before it.
Okay?
Yeah, there's a
You
world
shouldn't get
before it,
lost
there's a
in
world
that.
after it.
Okay?
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, learn. You gotta learn for yourself when to get away from that keyboard and to throw that phone down without breaking it.
Don't retreat
don't
from
break the fight.
society.
Yeah. Don't. These are truths. These are all.
It's
truths.
not all that bad.
But again, remember, more do.
More do, less talk.
Less talk.
More do, less
At
talk.
least
I like that.
At least in this respect, I think I can.
Yes.
I can get on board because I've, that's just the mentality I've had for a long time. But that's just something that people need to take to heart and figure it out on their own. And I mean, if they need help, we're there. So, yeah. Any thoughts about that, Dan?
Dan's too distracted because Matt handed him some Sudoku thing.
Yeah, no, it was an interesting little person that usually you can sort of decipher, like if there's somebody slipping, like that little vague human being with a circular head.
Yeah.
We couldn't decipher what that one was. It's I think it said you have to pee or something. What was it? I couldn't tell, but I can commiserate with that because after this I got to make But that was interesting. That was interesting that you showed me that. That was cool.
I thought that was one of ours here. There was just random paper on the desk.
I tore that off, but that's good. Chill.
So
yeah.
So yeah, and again, it's all a learning experience.
Learning experience.
It's all about growing.
Yeah, it is.
About having priorities.
And I know that with a lot of these, I'm still gonna have to metaphorically kick Yoshi Blade's ass a bit.
You're gonna have to keep my ass up at one side of the street and then down the other, metaphorically.
And the biggest thing is don't settle for where you're at right now. Is what I've learned the past year and even going forward is that no matter where you're at this moment, there's always something higher that you bring yourself to the next level, or at least try to have a goal to make next day a little bit better each time.
It's true.
And also at this very same breath, enjoy where you're at.
Yeah, Matt, you knew I was going to say something about that. I felt because I'm all about ambition is good, achieving stuff is good, but it's not what makes life worth living. That's what I would say. And for any of those who even watch the 10 Mug stuff, you guys know that I'm kind of all about trying to dismantle this concept of having to arrive as human beings, of having to get to a certain point where it's like, now my life has worth and meaning and is good enough, because ambition's great. Doing stuff with your life is awesome and we should strive to do that. But then making that doing the stuff our life goal, or, that saying that is when I have obtained worth as a human being, there's something deathly wrong with that.
Yeah.
But,
And Yoshi Blade mentioned very earlier on the podcast that maybe I should be chained up to his room to
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I should be a yak farmer or something. I don't know.
Minus the being chained up, I wouldn't say no to that.
Well, I would hope you would say no to that. I'd hope you'd say
no.
What
What I'm saying,
put that in the maybe
what
category.
I'm saying is that I would definitely like to work more one-on-one with you, because we did some really fun stuff, did some really cool stuff, and of course fixed some things.
Yeah, a lot of tweaking went on. I don't. Yeah, I think that means what
because
I mean.
Because
musical tweaking. Nothing else.
When you listen to a track you've been working on for a long time, it's very difficult to say, well, is this good? Is this what people are going to want to hear?
Do your best, cock the rest, right? I don't know.
Because there were some areas of some of the tracks where I'm just like, yeah, that just doesn't work.
Yeah, it just didn't. You said that. You said it just like that. Actually, it just didn't work. And if it doesn't work, it didn't work.
Again, it's one of those things where I'm like, I understand what you're trying to do, and it's cool, but for what the track is, it's not quite working.
Yeah, I feel you. He's right on the money.
So we got MacFest coming up in a little over 2 weeks. And in fact, for those of you guys who don't know, literally, I will be coming back from Phoenix the day before, very late. So literally, I will be like throwing my stuff in the house and then throwing it back out of the house.
We'll be in MacFest, at least Connor, myself, Reed, a few other friends, and Thursday, I believe, of that MacFest.
Yeah, we'll try to get in. We'll work something out. I'll be there, though.
I'll be picking up Yoshi Blade and Beat Drop and his fiance at the airport, I guess around 4 or 5. You're getting in, I think, around 4:15, I think.
Yeah, we're getting very, very quickly to each other, so it all works out quite well, I think.
Yeah, so come join the family reunion and party that is MacFest. It really does feel like more of a gathering of friends and family.
Yeah.
Tons of fun, and don't be strangers. The most important thing
Seriously.
is that if you find any of us around there, we're all good people. We're all nice dudes. We try to be as friendly as possible.
Yep.
We love to interact with you guys. The reason why, Vinny takes time to talk about, chats and stuff like that is because interaction's cool. And if you want to, please do.
And the reason why I bring up the whole social media thing is because, like I said, Instagram is cool. Don't get me wrong. But one of the things I don't like about it is the fact that all you can really send as far as like attachments or photos and videos. And, for a musician, that can be hard. And I hope Dan, you're listening to this because this is geared towards you.
Yeah.
Because I really like Facebook Messenger, not for the social component, as opposed to being able to actually attach audio files and other files, and actually attach full-size images.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
And also be able to save that, because like in Instagram, you can't really save that.
You can't save
except by doing a screenshot, which isn't really
well,
the
that
same
doesn't work
thing.
for like the video, because you can't screenshot a video. But
and that's kind of one of the why I'm really trying to push you into that direction, because we have Chumps Chat, and we do all kinds of stuff, and King Tiger and I, we do a lot of stuff together through Facebook Messenger, because we're constantly sending stuff through that, because when you work through Instagram or Google Drive, that's all cool, but that gets really tedious, because then I have to go and copy the URL to my browser, and I have to do that every time I get something, and it's just a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So,
I feel you. I'll look into that. I'll definitely look into that, because that's all there is to it. I'll look at it right today.
Which means no, ladies and gentlemen.
Sound record, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
No.
I've always wanted to say that. You've heard it here first, folks. I can't.
But that's the sad reality. Right. I do feel like there's going to be a big no there, just because.
Well, I can't make any promises. I'll look at it, because again, first and foremost, no cart before the horse. You have to get down with what you need to get done.
The question is, what's the big deterrent?
There's no deterrent. I'd say the main thing is I'm not trying to put any horses or carts before the horse. I screwed it up again.
Okay.
You don't want to put any horses before carts.
Yeah.
Jokes.
Yeah. Just that's something to look at in the future. Right now, I want to be consistent in what I do, and I don't want to be consistent in talking about myself. I want to be consistent in my music.
Well, we're not talking about talking about yourself. We're talking about trying to find a better platform to collaborate.
That's
with.
true.
Because again, that's really the problem I have with just the way it is now, is that, to collaborate, it's just very tedious for me, because I'm constantly like in and out of things just to hear what you're trying to do. And trust me, I like that.
Yeah, I understand that. We'll figure that out. Yeah.
And I just want to make it easier for both of us, because the tools are there. Again, as I've said 1,000 times before, use the right tools for the job.
True that.
I thought you were supposed to use the wrong tools for the job. That way you get bonus points.
Some people do, because they either think what they have is adequate, or they don't really realize the robustness of some of these other tools that are out there.
Yeah.
So.
Or they're set in their ways, or they're whatever.
Because like my Facebook account, I mean, I'd say it's relatively solid in terms of like permissions and ensuring that only those who I want to see certain things see them. Because Facebook in particular, their permission settings have gotten just so awesome over the last couple of years. So if I wanted to like upload a picture that I only wanted Matt to see, oh my God, it is so easy to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of Facebook permissions and random stuff like that, if you post that thing where it's like Facebook has changed their privacy policies, and I'm posting this as my status, I will find you. I will hunt you down, and I will just slap you in the face if you post that. Are you going to find
all of them that do that?
I will find literally everybody that does that, and I will slap them in the face. You heard it here first, folks, because it just doesn't work. It's stupid. It's obnoxious. Just please do not. Bringing it back around to things that get underneath my skin, that is one.
Well, trust me. I think it's most people who use Facebook and understand that that's not a real thing.
Yes, and I'm thankful for the majority.
That will be taken seriously.
Thankful for the majority that are, well, understanding and aware.
That's also why you can easily unfollow but still be friends with people on Facebook.
Yeah, so that way you can...
So you don't see those things.
So and I'm so thankful for that feature, too, because it's like, oh, now I don't have to make this person feel bad by unfriending them.
I'm sure that's the way it is for me. Everyone's unfollowed me, especially with all my South Park posts that I do during new episodes.
With your Twitter like South Park episodes on Facebook where you're posting like 30 things in 1 minute.
Nah, it's not that bad.
It is. It is that bad.
No, it's usually like 20 things in the entire 22 minutes.
I mean, so I exaggerated, but that's pretty much the way it is.
At the same time, speaking of, if any of you guys do want to actually follow me and not get that, you can ask. No. You can ask to be added to a group I have. It's a group, not like a public group, but it's a security group. Tied to all those posts, that's called FU. So,
what?
So if you don't want to see any of those posts in your newsfeed, I can add your username to my FU group, my or I guess in some people's case they would call it a list. And you would never see those ever again. And that's literally what the group's called, FU.
Wow, that's magic. That's almost as magical as freaking Video Blocker, and the fact that I can block having to see anything from BuzzFeed on YouTube or BuzzFeed just anywhere in general. It feels great.
And actually, that group has existed for like 5 years, and there's only one person in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'll join them.
And to be honest with you, that's not really somebody who I necessarily care to be friends with. I just kind of have to because I have a lot of professional ties with this individual.
Sure.
So. Well, which is why he's there, why he's in that group in the first place.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to hit the floor again. And
you are.
I second that.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I need some Dairy Queen.
Any closing thoughts, Tenwug?
Why'd you ask me first? No. Actually, I want to take some time just to. I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about how possible things are to do with my life because of my grandfather.
Sure.
And I just wanted to say some time, just in front of whoever's listening, to just be thankful, so thankful for the people that you have in your life that are sacrificing so much so that you can do whatever you want. My grandfather and my grandmother both have just done a lot for me, and I everything that I'm able to do with my life, I'm able to do because of them. And I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you both so much. I lost my grandfather, unfortunately, back in June of last year, right actually around when we were at Phoenix Comic-Con. And that was a hard time. I got back from the convention, and the next morning I was at my grandfather's funeral. And it was... it was hard to do that, but even now, like still in death, I'm still feeling the impact of like it still feels like he's helping me out. And I just wanted to thank him and my grandmother both for being just such wonderful people and allowing me to do what I want to do with my life, and allowing me to take the time to come to these conventions, to meet guys like you, to be be doing what I'm doing, and none of this would be possible without them. So thank you, Grandma, and thank you, Grandma. I love you guys.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Rossi?
Sorry to get so emotional there. It's just it's what's on my mind. I don't know.
Like everything, it's been a long journey with me on the internet, and I can't do without the support and love of communities out there all over the place, and everyone either kicking you in high gear with criticism or pushing you forward with kind words as well. Both of those are equally great parts for it. I'm also super excited for both MagFest and my sister's wedding stuff coming around the corner. It's definitely going to be weird. There's a time in my life where I didn't think I was going to make it to my sister's wedding in terms for being there. And now it's kind of cool to be at that point in life where I'm seeing all that happen.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Because I think all of us at some point have had some bad run-ins with depression, some bad run-ins with themselves, and you get to a point where you don't think you'll ever bury out of it. And then when you're finally when you see the sunrise again, that it's a very weird and cathartic feeling.
It is.
Sure.
Wow, it's really dark here, man. We're just piling it on here, man. I don't know. I'll try and do.
Literally looks like you're about ready to cry.
It's tough here, man. That's some heavy. What do I do with that?
Dude, I mean, maybe you could do some like comedy relief. Just like vomit some Skittles on the microphone.
Just drop this lead weight in the room. I mean, I don't know what to do. Just follow me on Instagram if you're out there. Give me a listen and
follow him on Instagram. Sign him up sign up for Facebook using his alias.
Yeah.
On Twitter,
Yoshi Blade
Facebook.
on Instagram.
So you can follow me on Twitter at Yoshi Blade. That's my new Twitter account.
No, I'm talking about signing him up under Facebook and Twitter.
Oh yeah, there you go. So just give me a follow there, man. I don't know what to say with that heavy stuff. Wow.
Yeah.
Just give me a follow there, man. Let me know you're out there.
Follow.
Let's pause the podcast. Let's hit the reverb.
Whoa.
Yeah, just doing some weird whatever that noise was.
Thank you guys for being so awesome. It's been fun and shenanigans and bada boop, bada bop. And now back to Dan.
There you go.
Yeah,
Wow.
now back to Dan. Now that he's taking a second to think.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, for all of us, you can follow. You plugged your Instagram.
Yeah.
You can find me on Facebook, Connor Jennings. I look like an idiot, I guess, in my profile picture. I always do. And on Twitter, you can find me at _C Jennings. Matt, where can they find you on Twitter?
They can find me at twitter.com/Matt, or it's at Matthew Sarossi, and then you can also follow the card game that I've been spending most of my draining energy on. It's from a company called Gringo Gaijin, which is foreign in both Japanese and in Spanish. Super fun. Check it out. Love to hear what you think, and yeah, put so much creative energy in there. I hope it turns out well.
Vinny, where can they find you and all things?
They can't find me anywhere because I deleted everything.
Oh, snap.
I don't believe in social media anymore after this podcast. I really don't.
Yeah.
Good crap.
Let's hear it, man.
Good crap. I've taken the Yoshi Blade route.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm not on anything but Instagram. and I'm gonna remove all photos that show my face at all.
Good.
Yeah. Oh, good. That's like all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. We got like good 60% of them that consist of our food.
Nice,
food
the
porn.
food.
What if you photoshopped your face as food?
Oh, God.
Would that be the ultimate VinnyMac post?
That would be terrible. That would be so terrible.
So anyway.
So, as always, this has been a really wild podcast. Took a very weird turn at the very beginning. I never would have expected it. We could thank Connor Jennings, aka Tenwog.
That's
voice
what I
actor.
do, man.
That's
what
what
I
he
do.
does. That's why he's here. I'll say what Rossi would typically say. We all have a story to tell.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you going to say what I typically say?
Yoshi Blade understands that statement, I think.
Yes, we
I
are.
don't know,
It really is.
I don't know. What do you usually say?
That everyone is a gift.
Oh,
Their
no,
lives have so much meaning.
No, I don't think I'd say that.
See, it is important that everyone knows that they have a story to tell. And again, do whatever you can to tell that. Whichever way you want to go, whatever means outlet, and have fun while doing it and connect. Right now, I know what it feels like to be a bug Pokemon in a bug catcher's net right now.
Well, the reason why I bring that up is because you guys out there, the people, are the reason that we do what we do. And it's important, and this is why I bring Yoshi Blade into this equation. In order for us to know who you are, you need to make yourself known, whether that be you contacting us in any of the various ways that you can do so, or by coming up to us at MagFest, or even here at PAX, since we'll be here for a little bit still. But if you don't make yourself known, and that's why I literally had to metaphorically, although that's a little weird statement, I literally had to metaphorically kick Yoshi Blade's ass, because literally I could see that from everything he was doing that he didn't really want to have this public eye, if you will.
Public eye, yeah.
And that's a problem if you're going to be a musician that's, I think, is going to be putting out some really cool stuff.
Because you already do that, Dan.
And this is in no way trying to say that you're resting on your laurels, if you will. This is literally just saying, I see talent. I see good stuff from you. You're obviously continuing it. That's not an issue. It's just more or less understand that, you want to be heard, you got to put yourself out there and not be afraid to do that.
That's true.
Because honestly, I think that there is a lot of fear, and I'm sure there's other issues that are making that not so.
Yeah, but the first step is also, don't forget, have something worth hearing before you want to be heard.
Well, guess what? I said that before. I think there is a lot of stuff that's worth hearing.
True.
That is why I am bringing this up and throwing it at you, is saying that there is plenty of stuff. Both with your first OCR post, some of the stuff you've done as part of the contest, and also the work in progress tracks. I mean, I don't think there was one of them that I could honestly say, hey, I didn't like this at all. They were all really good.
Thank you.
All
Thank
of
you,
them,
VinnyMac. That means a lot to me.
All of them, I think, are just about done. I mean, sure, some of them need a little bit more work than others. They're work in progress tracks, but some of them still are on their way. And they're getting very close. And like I said, I'm very excited to see what happens with that.
Cool.
But again, the bottom line is, I think you've got stuff to put out there. I know you're going to continue to do it. Just a matter of making yourself known by allowing yourself to be put out there and not being afraid of it. Because, again, I think that there is a fear, and I think that there's other reasons for that. Not just that, but much like my own fears and what have you, you got to really overcome them and stop eyeballing that microphone like it's a piece of eye candy.
It is. It's a well-built microphone.
Yeah. Thank you. It's mine, by the way.
It's nice.
This is my microphone.
It's very nice. I compliment you on it.
This podcast is brought to you by Connor Jennings' microphone.
Yes.
Connor Jennings' microphone.
Literally.
So
it will 10 your walk.
So as I said, this community, especially the Game Chumps crew, they're more of my immediate family. Or at least that's the way I consider it.
The feeling is mutual.
It is.
Wow. I don't believe that, because this is...
All right, let me kiss you on the lips then.
This is a family after all, so there is a form of dysfunction involved.
All right. All right, guys, I'm out of here.
Right.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Bye, podcast.
Emotional breakdowns.
Bye.
No, so yeah, no, I mean, I take that to heart, and I definitely mean that. And, I mean... I'm not going to say what Yoshi Blade would say and what more can be said, because a lot more can be said.
Yeah, a lot more can be said, but let's just...
But, yeah, I mean, this has definitely been an exciting first month into 2016.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
2016 of February is going to be even crazier with MagFest and my trip to Phoenix. And, of course, the fact it's a leap year, so we have an extra day in February.
Oof.
So that means work for me, unfortunately. So... I definitely want to thank Rossi here, Tenwog, and of course want to thank Yoshi Blade for me having to to actually, literally dragging him down here.
Tip of the hat, sir.
Also, you're the newbie.
Yeah.
Gee, there's something about that, yeah.
In traditional Game Chumps fashion, we have to have the Game Chumps initiation.
Oh, I don't know about that.
There is no Game Chumps initiation.
No, there is. But as far as I'm concerned, he already took care of that in the first week.
Well, VinnyMac's the one who's running the show here, so quite literally, right? I mean, he's running the show, so he gets to make the call.
Yeah. So thanks for coming down and for being here, because I know that you had your own reservations about coming down here, and he still has not been raped, murdered, molested, thrown in my
and
kitchen
I'll take
hole.
my hat off to that. Take my hat off.
at least right now,
I hope we've met some pretty all right people.
At least for right now, I have
very
no
all
plans
right
of doing that. So yeah, on behalf of everybody here at the Game Chumps crew, myself, DJ Vince VinnyMac, Rossi, Tenwug, Yoshi Blade, and of course MC Percolata, who is stuck in Raleigh right now.
I love you.
I want to thank you. Of course, I want to thank everybody at VinnyMac Interactive Entertainment, everybody at Overclock Remix, everybody at Overclock Remix Radio Live, Game Chomps, and of course the fine folks at the VinnyMac Productions Monitoring and Control Center in Huntsville, Alabama, for, as always, doing such a great job monitoring and maintaining today's stream, because frankly we couldn't do it without them. And of course we couldn't do it without you, because you are what makes the show the show. Again, as we started out so many years ago, the show was designed to be made for you, by you. I'm just the host.
Yes.
So until next time, Dan, do you remember it?
Okay, I've been working on this. All right.
I don't believe that.
I have.
Okay.
Keep it real.
Wrong.
No, that's the second one. I was just reiterating but stay true to yourself. Keep it real. And this is.
Do you like the way my bacon smells?
That's it. That sounds right.
You might have to take off the pants.
And we'll see you next time.
No, you did it wrong again. But that's okay. Okay. So we'll catch you next time.
We'll catch you next time. Let me do it then.
Get your radio voice on.
This is the best radio. You should hear my normal voice. This is like the best I can do. Stay true to yourself. Keep it real. And we'll see you next time.
You did it wrong again.
Catch you next time.
Well, hey, this is how we learn. Yeah, yes, rewind it for me there.
In action.
Oh boy, I'm blanking. Keep it real. Stay true to yourself, and we'll catch you next time.
Okay, now you did
Close
the first
enough.
Now you did the first.
That's
Remember. Use that intelligence.
Let's use this
Use
up here.
the brain.
Frontal lobe.
The longest outro ever, ladies and gentlemen.
It is. But as part of being somebody who's new, you gotta know it. You gotta learn
the stuff.
I never learned the outro.
The
No, you
liturgy,
did.
if you will. Oh, you want me to try it again? Okay.
Yeah. We're
stay true,
guys. We're gonna be like Homestar Runner. We're gonna get it right.
Stay true to yourself. Keep it real, and we'll catch you next time.
Okay. Right words, but there's no upward inflection.
My
So I will end
We will
it.
see you next
I
time.
will end
wow.
it. So yes, I'm DJ Vince VinnyMac. As always, stay true to yourself, keep it real, and we'll catch you next time. We're out. Thanks, Yoshi Blade.
You're welcome, sir.
Later,
Thanks,
guys.
Alf.